I hope you're having a good day. I am focusing on my house, which I have neglected these past few weeks because it is raining out. During like this part of the year, it is very difficult for me to keep my house clean because all I'm doing is gardening. So this is the mess I'm cleaning up. I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. I don't know if you want to see it. But before I'm doing that, I am sitting right here, avoiding my work because I did just clean the kitchen and I started laundry, so I did something. But I decided that I would finish. I watched part of the Erica Kirk speech on a couple days ago, and I got sidetracked by something she said, and I just finished it. And I kind of want to share my thoughts. I really, for the most part, I really liked her speech. I can see why she's very engaging to women. I mean, a lot of what she said I agreed with, and it's very interesting that I'm extremely liberal and certainly not a Christian nationalist, and I agreed with a lot of what she said. I think that is why people get pulled in, because her message is very meaningful. And when I say pulled in, I don't mean it in like she is, and I don't know her that well. Her video came to me because someone else, another influencer I follow, commented, and I wanted to see what she was about. I actually never heard of Charlie Kirk prior to him being assassinated. But a couple of things. I mean, I do think we live life and I think it's about choosing what's important to us. There's a couple undercurrent messages that bother me a little bit about what she said. The first is she made it clear that it's not about living your life, it's about living God's life. You're living your life for God. And that sounds noble. And on the surface, it seems like a great idea. My concern with that is that there is no way to know you're living God's life. You know, I know there's a Bible and people believe in the Bible like it was written by God himself, but I struggle with that. I struggle with the logic of how he could possibly write the book. The most I can come with in my head is that some person that, received messages from God wrote these down, and also it's been changed several times through languages. The logistics of that, the logistics of knowing that that's the genuine truth, I really struggle with, especially because I know different Bibles say different things. So my take on any of God's word, anything that anyone tells you that God is saying you need to do, you need to filter through your own idea of right and wrong. So that is my first thing. I think that it's very, it is very tempting to look, tempting, to want to have the answers. And I think that's what religion offers. It offers answers. But we don't really know those answers. You can't know anything in life. And that is what's genuinely hard about life. You never know anything. We're just all doing the best we can. And religion, what I don't like about Christian nationalism specifically is that it says you got to be a certain way and do certain things to fit, to have the answer. They don't actually have the answer. No one human person has the answer. No one does. They have insight into it, perhaps. And they're human. Being human makes you imperfect. Everyone's imperfect. So there's that. One thing she said that I very much struggled with is she talked about doing things out of duty to God, or I don't know if that's specifically what she said, but the idea that came across was that your duty, it's to live life for serving other people. And again, on the surface level, that sounds like amazing philosophy to live by. And are you really serving God if you're not doing something you want to do? Like, we were all born on this earth. We all were born with our wants and our desires and our dreams. I'm not saying, and that's the other thing, like there's this idea that our wants are wrong. Misusing our wants, our wants construed in unhealthy manners, now that may be wrong, though I don't really believe in right and wrong in general. I believe in healthy and helpful, and I believe in actions causing harm to other people, and I don't think it's good to cause harm to other people. But let's say you want to sing, you want to write music, there's nothing wrong with that. And that's your gift to bring to the earth. Some people have more desires to have kids than others. Some people can afford to have kids while others can't. We all have our reason and purpose, and I struggle with this idea that it's just to be a mom and a wife and to have kids. But if that is your purpose, I think that's a wonderful purpose. I think, and the thing that scares me about this is that Christian nationalism seems to focus on duty, serving. First of all, I don't think you should ever do something because it's your duty to do it. I think that breaks down the connection of love. Express love. We all have love to share, but do it in the way that we show love and learn the way they receive love. And, that's a whole different subject, our different love styles. I'm just saying that don't act out of a need to be perfect, a need to be exactly what God wants. You are what God wants. Just be yourself. I think that is the most important thing. Be yourself and live genuinely. And then I think every single, I think we say in our society, and I think in Christian nationalists, women are seen below men because they don't have income. But you know what? Maybe every single stay-at-home mom should have an income. Also, I think every single stay-at-home mom who is running the household should be seen as leaders and be able to break into the job industry if once their kids grow old. the thing I don't like is that women are completely dependent on the man for the money, for one thing. And that is wrong. You know, and it's completely dependent on the man that he is fair. And that is just, maybe in the church as a whole would be better if they put philosophy on like paying the wife, earning an income, so they had their own income, or I don't know. That's the struggle with where we are at as a society. And while the idea of being a stay-at-home mom sounds good, as a society, we're not there. We don't value being stay-at-home moms, and that's why feminism happened. And I think feminism has it wrong to a degree. I think having the ability to have children is the most amazing thing about a woman. And for some reason, our society views that as not as beneficial as men. And because everything is focused is on money. And that's the real issue. Our society is focused on money. And the second thing that is the problem is that there's a huge spread of wealth. And it seems like her answer was have kids even if you can't afford it. Well, you know what? That doesn't really fix the problem. And that's the unfortunate thing about her message. Her message is good, but the policies her ideas support increase that gap in wealth. You know, her policies focus on paying wealthy, cutting taxes for the wealthy, and not everyone is wealthy. I don't know. We can't just make people have kids and it fixes the problem. It doesn't fix the problem. Feminism, I think that we need to reframe feminism away from, women being the same as men. There's a difference between sameness and equality. And that is the real difficult thing about the first turn of feminism, is that women, in order to get women equal power, we had to get women in the workforce, because that's the only way in a capitalistic society where you can gain wealth. If we were in a socialism society, there would be childcare. There would be a much bigger, less gap in wealth. And so men could work while women took care of the kids, and more than anything, and that's for the people that want to. I'm just talking in broad strokes. They are seen as the most important members of society. And there would be programs to get women back in the workforce if they were a stay-at-home mom, if they were married and the marriage fell apart, and there would be good programs to protect against abuse, because when someone in a capitalistic society, the person that has the power is the money, and that is not the way it should be. Because in my mind, women are the most important, valuable members of society, because the only way our species continue is through women. And so I think that is the next wave of feminism. I think that the shift, we live in a society of constant evolution, and we're all just doing the best we can. And so when feminism was created, it was created based off a patriarchal society. And so because of that, we said women are equal to men, and so women should be able to do the same job as men, and they should, and we all should. And and there's still a wealth gap between women and men, and especially women of different races, and there's a wealth gap between men of different races and white men. All that needs to be addressed. And the biggest thing is, the hardest thing about the message, much of what she said, I agreed with. Is that her cause supports politicians, and it supports political law, rules, and policies that harm women. And that is the most difficult thing for me. I can agree with what she said, and also say that we need to support policies that support women. And feminism, while not perfect, is an attempt to support women. And instead of saying it's completely broken and wrong, let's work on fixing it and making it better, because I do agree that things need to change and improve, and women need to be supported in having kids and having families. And also, men need to be taught it's okay to be emotional. I think this toxic masculinity needs to be addressed in feminism, and we need to be, accountability is part of it, and teaching kids, boys, that it's okay to be loving and kind. It's okay to have emotion. Leadership is gentle and kind. That is also an important part of being a feminist in my mind. All right, so that's it. Right now, this is at 17 minutes. I was trying to aim for 3, but it's hard. So let's see if I can cut this down into 3 or 5 videos. We'll see. It's time to get to some projects in my yard. Nearly 4 hours later, and I'm finally done. It's not perfect, but it's definitely better than it was before.